Welcome to the Misfit Squad podcast,
where we invite you to embrace your difference and to discover a spectrum of possibilities and change what's wrong about you into what is strong about you.
We're your hosts. I'm Kim Lucienne.
And I'm Trina Rice. We're the Misfits. What's your superpower?
Welcome to this edition of the Misfit Squad podcast. I'm your host, Kim Lucienne, and this...
I'm Trina Rice.
We're the Misfits, talking about how to take what's wrong about you and make it strong about you. So today, specifically, what are we going to talk about?
Well, today, we're going to talk about energy.
All right, so what's that? What the heck is energy? Or what do we mean when we talk about what is energy?
Energy.
Energy
is everywhere. It's around us. We feel it. We can sometimes even smell it. It's in the environment. It's in the technology that powers everything, our computers, our cell phones, airplanes.
So I'm interrupting you to say, do you mean it's everything and it's everywhere?
It is.
Cool. So
even the things like the walls in your house that look solid are energy.
Super slow energy.
It's just how the molecules are moving at a particular speed or vibrating.
Right. So basically it's kind of like a living thing, right? It's moving, it's changing, it's constantly evolving and morphing, and
yeah, it's a doing. It's anything and everything. And why is it important?
Exactly.
Why do we care what energy is?
So, because you're basically a walking, talking radio tower, which is constantly picking up and tuning into all of these energies that are running around. And I don't know about you, but like half the time I feel like I'm freaking crazy. And I don't know what's going on.
Because you're a misfit.
Because I'm a misfit. But it's important because actually so much of that is my awareness of energy and what's happening and what's going on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So the radio towers that we're talking about are all the frequencies. It's the vibrations of the energy, and we pick that up. And because you can be so aware of the energies, it's all the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the perceptions that you have of yourself, of other people have of you. And we all take that on, and it becomes so solid and real.
Right. Well, so here's the important piece. We take it on and we're aware of it and we're picking up on it, but we don't actually realize that we're doing that.
No.
Right. So all of this like swirl of energy,
It's a secret,
is going on and kind of messing with us. But because we don't acknowledge or realize that we're doing it or aware of it, that's how it like makes it crunchy and gets us messed up, because there's this massive thing happening that we're not acknowledging.
Well, like, have you ever had a moment when you've walked into a room and you knew that there was maybe a fight that just occurred there because you could actually feel the tension in the air?
Right, exactly. And it's like,
yeah. So that's energy. And also, you could think of it, sometimes, you might think of a friend and all of a sudden your phone is ringing.
And it's that person calling you.
Yes.
That is your awareness of energy.
Yeah. And it's the frequencies that get put out there that it's like the radio tower. Call Kim, call the Misfits today.
Exactly. Or to use another example, it's pretty much how babies communicate, and really small children. It's how is it that mom knows to feed, mom knows to change, blah, 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 because the babies are communicating telepathically, i.e. using energy with their parents or with whoever that, because obviously if you don't have kids and you're an auntie or an uncle, you have experienced this.
It's like
having, you know what they need.
It's like having the different cries for different things. Like, exactly. So there's a cry for the diaper change. There's a cry, I'm hungry. There's a cry for, I just need a hug. I just need some loving. Those kinds of things. But how do you interpret that? You interpret that through energy, and you figure out that each one of those cries has a different frequency to it, a different signal, which tells you what the baby requires. So it's the same thing like with animals. I mean, you don't know anything about animals, do you?
Just a teeny tiny bit.
It's really also how animals communicate, because they communicate with energy.
And most of you out there listening are more comfortable around animals than people. I bet you. And there's a reason for that. That's because animals are not confusing.
You sure?
They are not incongruent. So what they do and how they behave is a match energetically to what they're trying to communicate to you. So it's not stressful because there's no disconnect or incongruency in the energies that you're aware of. Whereas like with people, we're like blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Completely incongruent.
Basically,
disconnection.
She's saying what's in the head doesn't match what comes out of your mouth, which is a whole other topic that we will discuss and share tools with you about
on another podcast in the future. So back to, out of my rabbit hole, back to energy, why it's important. And so, okay, so we've talked about what it is. We've talked a little bit about like examples about how you can start recognizing it, right? Because that's the first thing is now, okay, so we get now energy's everywhere and it's everything, and that we should probably be aware of it. And we've talked a little bit about the ways that you can acknowledge or start to be more aware. And the cool thing is the more that you start to be aware of the little things and acknowledge, you're like, oh, more of that shows up, right? And it makes more sense.
Yeah,
right?
Like when you actually become aware of energy, you can totally use it to your advantage, because then once you trust yourself and your own awareness of energy, it doesn't lie. And then you can actually know more about people. You can know more about a given situation. You ask a question about, hey, if I go take this class, or if I go to this meeting, or if I'm going to go meet, should I go out to dinner with so-and-so? Is that going to actually create more? Because then you start to perceive and receive the energy of it, whether it is. And one of the things that we're going to talk about in future podcasts, once we have the whole energy thing, is like actually being able to follow the energy of what is light, to be able to choose in your life versus going into following what's heavy and the restrictive stuff and going down like that.
Right.
Hard path.
So we really want to start acknowledging that everything is energy and that we are starting to tune into that. And the cool thing then is that when you start doing that and then you're having like stressed feelings, or you're feeling upset, or you're feeling like frustrated or anxious
or overwhelmed,
you can sort of, often it's not yours, you're aware of something, and so you can start using it. That's a good example, right, of using energy to your advantage. What's going on here? Why am I feeling like this? What am I aware of? Is it me, or am I just aware of some energy in the room or in the space or whatever? And that's how you really start to turn in and use it to benefit you instead of using it against you, basically. Because we talk a lot about that, right? How all of everything that we talk about is really about how to take what works about you, what's right about you, and to make you have it work for you instead of work against you. So how to use energy to make your life better instead of using energy to make your life worse, right? Because if we don't acknowledge and we don't use those things for us, then we inadvertently and unconsciously use them against us.
Yeah, because so many of us don't realize how energetically aware we are, or the energetic signature that we do have. Mm-hmm. And so like Kim said, we use it so much against us because we think that we're speaking all these other languages and we don't even realize how often we're speaking energy. Just think of the times that people make facial gestures at you, or signal things, and there's no words, but you know what they're saying because of a facial expression. That's energy. So we invite you to start being aware of like the little whispers of energy that's everywhere, even in your bodies. And look around this week of how you can start to perceive and feel and sense the energies that are vibrating everywhere.
Yep. And for those of you who think you still don't know what the hell we're talking about, or you can't feel energy, I want you to put your hands together, right? Put your hands together and push them closer and closer until you can feel there's like a, can you feel that? It's like a squiggly, itchy sort of,
It's like like two magnets when they come together, you know? You have that pull, the negative.
Yeah. So even if it's like this close together but not touching, you can sense what's in between there. Start playing with that. Make them a little bit farther apart. Can you still feel that? Eventually you're going to be able to get way out here. I can still feel the energy going between my hands. Wait, you can't even see my one hand. Way far apart. So
you can also, just as you're starting that, if you need to, you can also rub your hands together really fast because it gets the flow of the energy moving, and that way you have that vibration and sense it.
Way more, So start with that. That is an easy way. You don't even have to be anywhere in the room or figure out what you're feeling. I'm just feeling the space between my hands. There's energy in that space between your hands. Start with that.
Like an inch apart. 2 inches apart, 5 inches. Yes, start there.
Exactly. So that's energy. We probably have a million other things to tell you about that, which we will talk about on future episodes. But that's it for today.
Just know that energy is a changing, moving, being, doing thing.
That's right. So thanks for joining us on this episode of the Misfit podcast, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Have a great week.